on blast.
Leads us to another conversation or the conversation I guess I really want to have, conversation I assume most Raptors fans really want to have at this point. And that's about the trade talk. As a writer, a well-known writer actually, Ken Berger, he wrote an article for the Bleacher Report. And for those if you don't know, like he's a legitimate writer. Like this is a legit writer in the NBA. Okay, worked at a bunch of different places. I want to say he worked for like CBS Sports for a while. Obviously now, as I said, works for Bleacher Report. But my point is, when you see certain rumors, I normally hesitate on giving them any credence until I see certain people's names in the byline. Okay, this is a name that I take in and I believe, and I'm telling you, is a legit writer. So anyways, he wrote this article about the Bradley Beal sweepstakes is on, and he basically went around the league, talked to a bunch of different executives, and execs dish on deals for NBA's top trade chip, which is Bradley Beal, right? The part that matters the most to Raptors fans is this. He says, quote, "In the East, Toronto and Boston are among the most motivated teams to come calling for obvious but unique reasons. The Raptors have made it known in front office circles that they're interested in adding an elite shooting guard, rival execs say." Again, the Raptors have made it known in front office circles that they're interested in adding an elite shooting guard, rival execs say. A package including Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, and a first-round pick might be a sensible starting point to the discussion, one of the execs said. So here we go, okay? We were talking about this for a while, right? Are the Raptors going to make another move? Once you start seeing first-round picks involved, once you start seeing JV, who's been a solid part of your team, right? Solid part of your rotation, started a bunch of games for you. Once you start seeing that, there's legitimacy to some of these trade talks. So I'm going to ask you guys, where do you guys stand on this? Do you want to see the Raptors making a big move? You know, there's names out there such as Bradley Beal, obviously, which is something we've talked about. I found it kind of interesting because there was another part of the story where he mentioned that the Toronto Raptors, the Boston Celtics are also involved, right? The Boston Celtics have also made calls in terms of what would it take to add Bradley Beal. Now think about it from this standpoint, right? Someone in the NBA is always leaking these stories, right? If something is written by rival execs or whatever, it's coming from somewhere. So when I see that the Boston Celtics have some interest in Bradley Beal, I wonder, do the Celtics really have interest in Bradley Beal? Or do they just want to take him away from the Toronto Raptors, right? Do you want to at least try to drive up the price that the Raptors would have to give up to add Bradley Beal to their team? There's levels to this, right? It's super interesting. So are the Celtics really in the Bradley Beal talk? I would say probably not. I think they have enough wing players as is. But there's interest because obviously if the Raptors add Bradley Beal to their team, the Raptors are a real problem for the Celtics. I'll be honest. I am all in on trying to get Bradley Beal. I'm in on that. The reason I'm all in on that, to follow up the conversation we had on the last podcast when Mike was on, when Bellamo was on with me, Masai, when he traded DeMar DeRozan, he was telling you that he's going all in for 1 year. Like he sees, I have a top 3 to 5 player in the league on my team for 1 year. I'm going to take this 1 year and make a solid run at competing for a championship. It's very rare that you ever get those opportunities with your franchise, especially being the Toronto Raptors. You're not the Los Angeles Lakers. These opportunities don't come along that often. So now you're here. Your team has been playing as one of the top 2 to 3 teams at least, probably top 2 teams we could say, for the entire regular season so far. Okay? Kawhi Leonard is probably in the top 3 to 4 in MVP voting if this vote was to happen right now. I think that you'd be kicking yourself if you're the Toronto Raptors. If you had a trade on the table to add another All-Star to put beside Kawhi for this 1 year run, and you didn't do it because of OG Anunoby or someone else that comes off your bench. I'm always going to be for adding the all-star because I know what that all-star is. Talent and what someone might become, that's still an if, that's still a might be, that's still a maybe. I'm about what's happening right now. And what's happening right now is you have Kawhi Leonard at the peak of his powers, healthy, and you're waiting for the playoffs to come. And what you've seen from these big boy games is you're going to need another dude right beside him to be putting up that can drop 25. Because that's what's going to come down to in the playoffs, right? Golden State's over there bringing in Boogie Cousins. I'm not saying that the Raptors, with their team now or with Bradley Beal is beating Golden State, but I'm saying you want to give them a run. You want to get to the finals. And you do that with star players. You do that with all-stars. And again, we had this conversation. You hope Kyle Lowry is the all-star. You hope that Pascal or Serge or one of those dudes make the all-star team. But they're not the same level of all-star as Bradley Beal, right? Playoffs are going to come down to you're going to need another guy that can give you 25 in a game. You're going to need that in the playoffs. You're going to need someone other than Kawhi that has the ability to go for 25 or 30 on any given night. Right now, I don't think the Raptors have that. I know everyone's talking about where does the line end, right? Like, is there anyone that's untouchable? All I'm going to say is, as a Raptors fan, I don't want to be in a position where you're saying you didn't add Bradley Beal to play alongside Kawhi Leonard because of what Pascal Siakam might be. Because I'll ask you guys this. What Pascal Siakam might turn into, the Pascal Siakam we're seeing right now, yeah, he's playing well. Yeah, he's playing okay. But is he doing that night in, night out if Kawhi's not there? And he's at the top of the scouting report? Like, I'm saying this because I'm saying he's not there yet, which is fine. Bradley Beal is. You're talking about the now. What Pascal might turn into might be a solid NBA player. But will the rest of the team around him be in a position that you're in right now where you're actually talking about the NBA Finals? Pascal might be there in a couple years and you're talking about the Raptors being a playoff team. Cool. Maybe fighting for the 7th seed or the 6th seed in the playoffs. Cool. Right now you're talking about one of the top players in the league for one of the top teams in the league. So if you can add another top player, I'm just saying you do it. I don't think Masai is trading Siakam. I don't think so. But I'm saying what I would do, it'd be tough to turn down. Be very tough to turn down. But I also want to say this. I don't think that you would have to give up Siakam to get Bradley Beal, if we're being honest. I really don't think you have to. Like, if you look around and see what the other trade possibilities are for the Washington Wizards, like, nothing comes close to that. Some of the other things that people were talking about, it's like Marcus Smart and like it's just not the same. Like Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, like, I don't know, like, is that way better? Right? Like, Jaylen Brown's all right, but again, we're talking about dudes that look really good within the system of everything else that's around them. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Am I explaining that well? I'm just saying you have a 1-year shot with Kawhi Leonard. You might not get to this point ever again. Hot hand in the dice game. Roll the dice, Masai. Come February 7th. Hey, we'll see what it takes. If the package starts with Jonas, DeLon Wright, and a first-round pick, do you put OG in that deal? And you're getting back maybe, let's say, whatever Morris twin plays on the grid or on Washington, I'm in. My point is, I don't think Masai is just going to sit back and look at this team and think that this team is making the finals for sure. I think he wants to, like, if he has the opportunity to add another big-time player, he's going to do it. We're getting word now that he's interested in doing it, in adding another elite shooting guard. It's just, what is it going to take?
On blast.